First question I think I'd ask is, like, do you need us? Like why are you coming to us? Is it like that default behaviour where I often use the example of a barking dog. When that happens in the community, generally what happens is that person will contact council, our rangers get involved, there's logbooks, there's all this kind of punitive stuff, there's sound recordings that go on for something that could be solved by a conversation between two people on that street. But unfortunately, by and large, councils have created a situation where that kind of civic responsibility and authority has been removed, and there's less agency in the community to actually engage in that space and make those changes. The other thing I would consider, so if they do work out they need us, is it really depends on the organisation. Some councils are pretty progressive in terms of how they deal with their communities, and some really are quite command and control, old school, this is the law. And I found that if you don't get the right personality when you make contact with the organisation, that can be a huge barrier as well. There could be people who are on board with a particular kind of permissive culture, but you might get someone that's not, and it's really hard it's really hard systems to navigate. So if you're struggling with that, I would do something and ask for forgiveness later on. Like if it's, in terms of the risk that is likely, people generally aren't going to die. There's very little risk of harm to human beings. And there's why can't we just go out and try something out? You kind of see that in the tactical urbanism movement, where they just go out and they make bike lanes, which look semi-official because there's cones and lines and things, but done by people in the middle of the night. The other thing you can do is build up your social and political capital. The nature of our local government political system is only about 20% of people are involved in voting in local government elections, and you don't need a lot of votes to get in. So if you've got a fairly strong cohort of 2 or 3 dozen people working for a common cause, that's a very loud voice in comparison to what elected members need to actually get voted in. Plus, it's always great to see people coming to a council with the idea of asking for help rather than asking to fix the problem. But it really does depend on how much influence that kind of regulatory culture has in the organisation. The other thing is be persistent and be patient, because we are quite slow, or we can be quite slow. But if you do develop that relationship and that shared understanding with a particular officer or a particular department, that can go a long way, and you end up with someone on the inside who's willing to advocate for you if they don't have a specific placemaking team or something similar.